Gilles Duceppe is in Montreal today, where he's running hard to the finish line. The Bloc leader is fighting to shore up the sovereigntist vote in the final hours of the campaign. Now, throughout the election, our citizen bloggers have been watching all the drama unfold along the campaign trail, and with the polls showing a late race surge in support for the NDP in Quebec, well, there's no shortage of material to write about. Our next guest has been closely following the campaign in Quebec. Chapman is one of our volunteer citizen bloggers, and he joins me now via Skype from Montreal. All right, so you're where the big story started, the NDP's rise in Quebec. How big of a surprise was it for you?
Well, I can say it's absolutely astonishing, and I still can't believe it. When I look at poll numbers and things like that, I've been an NDP supporter for a long time. Since I was eligible to vote, I've been an NDP supporter in Quebec and often been made fun of, especially by Francophones, said that there was no chance of the NDP ever making any inroads in Quebec at all. So when they won a seat in the last election, I was overjoyed having a seat in Quebec. Now it looks like we're on the way to having a lot more than that.
Do you know why this has happened? Why there was this switch from the Bloc Québécois and from the Liberals and I guess from the Conservatives, from all parts really, but especially from the Bloc Québécois? Why have they been flocking to the NDP?
Well, I think there's a sense of the left. It's certainly obvious that on the left there's four parties at this point. There's, including the Greens, with social policy that's quite similar across the four platforms. I think that the Bloc in Quebec, they've had a long time in Parliament, and I get the sense from talking to people and hearing people talk that there's a lack of satisfaction with what they've actually accomplished. And also the sovereignty question, I think, is starting to be felt like it's more of a provincial issue in Quebec than it is a federal issue. And there's only so much the Bloc can really do to promote sovereignty. So I'm not even sure that sovereignty is on the minds of most Quebecers at this point. I think that Leighton had a great performance at both debates, especially the French debate. And those things added up, make for a real kind of political revolution here in Quebec.
Now, we just heard Liberal leader Michael Ignatieff saying he wants to stay on despite the results, no matter what happens on Monday. What do you think Gilles Duceppe's fate will be once this election is over?
Not only a question of Mr. Duceppe, but of his party in general and their actual relevance, at this point in Canadian history. I can't imagine if there's a huge setback for the Bloc that Mr. Duceppe will have any mandate to go on, and I think there's going to have to be a real reevaluation internally of how the Bloc decides to present itself to the Quebec people and what kind of options they'll present in order to, win back some of these votes that seem to be going towards making Canada a better place and not just Quebec.
Do you think, though, that this is a shift? I mean, nothing's permanent in politics, but a shift that will last at least a couple of years? Or, I mean, Quebec is notoriously fickle. We can talk about, the rise and fall of the ADQ provincially. Do you think that this will stick, or is this just one of those weird blips that happens every so often?
Well, I'd like to think, the campaign for the Liberals seemed to be pretty rocky. I mean, if they haven't made any huge gaffes, I wouldn't say, but I don't think their communication strategy has been working very well. I mean, the campaign is 90% of what happens in an election. I'd like to think that the NDP can make this into some kind of a trend over the next decade. It's hard to know, though. Well, a scandal can turn things around so fast. Right now, what the NDP has on its side is that there aren't any real political scandals. There's this scandal that's just emerged about Mr. Leighton, but it's not even a scandal. It looks like more like a bit of muckraking and a little antagonism, really. Yeah. I think that if the NDP does win a number of seats and they form the opposition, or perhaps some kind of cooperative government with the other left-wing parties, if they do a good job, this could be a real turning point in Canadian politics.
Are you? You're one of our citizen bloggers. Are you going to keep blogging after the election's done?
Yes, certainly. I'm a real avid Facebook user, and I work with social media. So I certainly love to make my opinions clear online, and I hope that I can inspire some people to change their opinions or just to get out there and vote. I hope that's what's happened with my blog.
All right. Well, listen, we definitely appreciate you blogging for us and joining us today. Citizen blogger Liam Chapman talking to us by Skype from Montreal.